I'm Christina Hopper. I'm a lieutenant colonel in the Air Force Reserve. I served 10 years in the active duty, and then I had a 5-year break in service, and I've been serving in the reserve for just a little over 7 years now. I didn't find flying. Flying found me, but once we were married, it was a match made in heaven. Rochelle Kimbrell is the first black female fighter pilot to go into combat, but I'm the first one to go into war. I was the first one into Iraqi freedom. So I was among the first generation of women to fly in fighters, and so at the time, there were so few of us. There were only 50 of us in the entire Air Force. So when I showed up to my first operational assignment, I was the first female to be in that squadron. So we were in Kuwait flying missions into Iraq, and we were there for about 5.5 months. One of my supervisors, whom I deeply respected, pulling me aside when we were about halfway through that deployment, and he said, "Thumper, when they first told me that women were gonna be allowed to fly in combat and to fly in fighters," he said, "I was totally against it." And he said, "But you have changed my mind." And so I definitely see that we are now starting to see more women come through T-38 training to go to fighters. I think as we start to gain more women, we will get some momentum and start to see an exponential growth over time. I give talks on unconscious bias. I think that it's really important for us to approach diversity talks with non-accusation. Because I think when people feel judged, they automatically become defensive, and then they don't hear anything that you say after the judgment. And so what we want to do is get people to understand that we all have unconscious bias. It's a part of humanity. And so if we can then now get to that point where we're all on the same page and acknowledging, okay, yes, I have bias, so now let me dig a little deeper and find out what are my biases so that I can now effectively combat them. When we're looking at it at skill sets and abilities, we should be looking at the whole person. I think that that's what we should be doing in the military, and at least from my local base perspective, that's what I see us doing. Study after study shows that with increased diversity comes increased innovation, increased decision making, and we see that in corporations and companies, it makes them more productive, more prosperous. So we absolutely in the military want that. My first encounter with racism was when I was in kindergarten. My dad was in the Air Force and he was serving overseas with NATO. So we had just moved back. We were in a all-white neighborhood. Ku Klux Klan was very prevalent, the activity there at the time. And my first day of kindergarten, I was ostracized for the color of my skin. And so what I tell people that are struggling, whether it be because they're female or because they're a minority and they're struggling with their identity or they're struggling with how other people treat them and see them, my message to them is other people don't get to determine your worth. That worth is inherent, and so once you realize that, then yes, it hurts when people say unkind things, but it doesn't faze you. It doesn't steal your joy. So that's my advice to them.